So it is Friday night. It's been a really long time. Been really sick. 17 feet of snow. It's just been a very hectic, crazy month. I'm feeling a little better. I'm not waiting for steak to rest. Haven't really had the stomach for something that bold. Haven't had a drink in a while. And all I'm going to really talk about today, well, I'm going to have a glass of something, not wine though. Probably going to have a Scotch, and I'll talk about that in a minute. In the meantime, I do have some wine that came in from Silver Thread. Talk about those a little bit. Mostly it's going to be, I'm pretty sure, mostly Riesling. I have another box, or another order coming from Obsidian. It's going to be mostly red, and I think I varied them a little bit this time. And been watching a lot of videos on mostly bourbon, but I've always had a sweet spot for Scotch. My entry-level Scotch that got me into it many years ago, Scotch whiskey, was Macallan 18. Macallan 18 is now, I think, upwards of $400. It's not really affordable. I think I spoke about this, Tamdu 18. I tried this at a store at a Total Wine. It was fantastic. It's half the price. It's $200, still $200, but it's an 18-year-old. And what do I like so much about this and Macallan? It's that they're sherry oaked. The irony is I don't even like sherry, but the flavor that the sherry casks impart on a Scotch is my favorite flavor profile in Scotch in general. This Tamdu 18 totally reminded me of Macallan 18, what got me on the road to Scotch, and I absolutely think this is awesome. They also have a 21-year-old that's $400 in my mind. If I really, really love that and I have a reason to splurge, maybe for another birthday or something, maybe I'll get the 21 year and just hope it's just as good. What else did I buy? So I do love Irish whiskey. Probably don't drink enough of it. So this is the Pog Castle 16 year. What's so interesting about this is that this is also finished. So it's mostly aged in ex-bourbon barrel casks. Bourbon has to be aged in new oak, and then after that it's pretty much discarded in many cases. Then they typically get used a lot by Scotch. They'll buy the barrels, they use barrels and age Scotch in it. So mostly this was in a bourbon barrel and then finished, I think, for a couple of years in a sherry cask. I love Irish. I typically don't like Irish to be maybe sherry, but I don't know. I guess I haven't had enough sherry finish or cask aged, sherry aged whiskeys, Irish whiskeys. So we will see if I really like this. I'm not going to try that one today though. What I want to try is this bottle called Glenaki, and someone recently, not in the last bunch of years, had bought this distillery. I'm pretty sure this is the old bottle and now they have a newish bottle. I don't know if there's a difference. I've seen mixed reviews about this. This supposedly is aged in two types of sherry. One's called Oloroso, the other one was Pedro Jimenez, which is a much darker, sweeter sherry. One that's more like a dessert, like a very thick, viscous dessert, almost like a black looking wine. And read a lot of good things, watched a lot of good things, but I also heard some other things. So I didn't know what to expect. Oh, I didn't really talk about cost. The Tamdu, well, I said this was 100, so not horrible in the realm of aged whiskey. This was also 100, not bad again in the world of aged whiskey. Bourbon, which used to be the affordable whiskey when I got into whiskey, is now the unaffordable, and people are going bananas for the prize bottlings. And I've tried almost all of them, and they all are fantastic. They're just not worth the price point, the secondary market price point. They're just nuts. So I am going to have a little bit of this and hope my taste buds are in a little better shape. They have not been great. Sickness has definitely beat me up. But I debated on not getting either of these and then getting a Cascanas Extra Añejo tequila, which I know I'll absolutely love. I finished my Cascanas Añejo. I really enjoyed it. I think the Extra Añejo would be even that much better. That was about $180. And then I also saw El Tesoro's Paradiso, 5-year aged tequila añejo, extra añejo, but It used to be that it was aged in cognac barrels, I think. The original Paradiso that I had that I really fell in love with. It was a little bit drying, but I loved it. I don't actually know what the new one is aged. It could be the same. I don't know. I'm not going to pour a tremendous amount. The proof on this is 46. So, well, the alcohol percentage is 46, proof is 92. So good bit stronger, so it'll probably have some intensity. Doesn't quite smell like the Tam do, but it could be, my senses are shot to hell. Oh, that's good. Oh, who said that's not good? Oh, that's delicious. That, even with my... Let's see, on the finish they said it ends with a leathery, oaky astringency. Oh, this is terrific. Oh, I'm glad I bought this. This is excellent. Right up my alley of a type of Scotch. I couldn't recommend this more. Glenaki 15. Now, this is this bottling. I don't know if the new one's the same. I just don't know. Who's the gentleman that bought it? I keep hearing his name, and I'm sure he's very... I can't read it, but... So, this is fantastic. It's strong. You're going to feel it. 92 proof. So, you know, vodka's 80. Think about what that feels like if you're drinking that straight. Tequila's now mostly 80, but it used to be about 72. This is 92. Something interesting I noticed from a lot of these bourbon tastings, and I wonder, your palate is going to tell you which direction. Do you like wheaters? Do you like high rye? Do you like aged? Do you like double oaked? Do you like over toasted? There's so many differences in the bourbon world now. But intensity, and let's say something is barrel proof and it's 120 proof, you're talking about a very intense taste that will probably not be muted because it's got such intensity, where if they've watered it down to a 90 proof, which a lot of these bourbon videos and bourbon folks are just kind of panning a lot of those 90 proof, not all of them, but if they're doing a taste test across and there's a 100 proof, a 110, a 120, and a 90, it seems like they're always going to prefer those higher proof. And I think it's because of the intensity of flavor, which makes sense. So I wonder if they watered, either they got to take all the 90 proofs and compare them across the board, rather than maybe some of the methods they're doing now, or water the other ones down to 90 proof, which then there's a little bit of chemistry there. And I wonder what would happen then once you bring them to that same playing field at that proof. Will they then be as expressive, as intense? That I don't know, and I have no idea, nor am I going to really try it. But that is that. 3 other wines I bought. Snow Maiden, love this, Nagori style. Sake, great with sushi. The viscosity, a little bit of a sweetness to it, really, really pairs well with sushi. I bought this. So this is Chateau Lambert. Is that a G? Labegorce for Margaux 2022. 2022 is a great vintage out of the left bank of Bordeaux. And I don't know the denomination here, and I don't have my little magnifying glass to see. But why did I buy this? It was number 7 on Wine Spectator's. Was it top values or top wines? I don't know. But it got a really high score from Decanter. Maybe that's where I saw it. Maybe it was number 7 on Decanter's list, not Wine Spectator. Now, I don't even remember. It doesn't really matter. I don't drink enough from Margaux. It's one of the major regions on the left bank. And I'm pretty sure it's a little further south than Saint-Julien, Saint-Estèphe, and Pauillac. And I typically prefer Pauillac in general. So, in the article I read, it said $35. It was $45 at the store. So I will give it a shot. Another wine. $110. This is a Corsia 2021 Douro from Pratt & Symington. I believe this is the greatest Portuguese red I've tasted. I'm sure there's others. There's not a ton of availability in this country for Portuguese reds. This is from Douro, which the best reds I've had from Portugal are from this region, which also specializes in port, but they're doing a lot with dry reds. 110 bucks. It's absolutely awesome. Definitely needs a decant, and I'm probably going to serve this at the wine tasting event. So whenever I schedule that. What else did I get? So these are silver threads. Can't read the years. I'm going to pause. Yeah, enough for not being able to see what's going on here. So, oh, my favorite of the vineyard. So this is a 2023 Riesling from the Doyle Fournier Vineyard. This is probably one of the oldest Riesling vineyards in the Finger Lakes, and I forget the original name of it or the other name of it, but Doyle Fournier, love the Rieslings from that vineyard when it's named as that vineyard. 2024, semi-dry, so sometimes I do like an off-dry. It's not super sweet, it's just a kiss of sweetness on this. Typically, I don't know if they put the RS on the back, the residual sugar. Typically, you can tell. So they've labeled this between medium dry, medium sweet. So this will be a touch sweeter, 12.6%. The higher the alcohol, typically the less sweet the Rieslings will be, because they stopped the fermentation early, or it stopped early, so there'd be less alcohol and more sugar that was left behind, is how I understand it. So this might be a touch sweeter, but it does pair well with certain foods, and that's typically why I get it, spicy foods specifically. This is just their 2024 dry Riesling, nothing special here, just their standard bottling, bone dry. And they do have a little scale on the back of showing bone dry versus not. So the Doyle Fournier shows up as medium off dry, but it's going to be bone dry. The Rieslings from the Finger Lakes that they say are bone dry rips the enamel off your teeth, and then you kind of need a little bit of residual sugar, and it adds a little volume and body to the Riesling and doesn't make it as astringent and as acidic, but it is pretty awesome. So this is just their 2023 estate. I must have bought all. Oh, I see something a little different, and this one says medium dry too, but again, this is probably bone dry. So that's telling me the off dry one's probably just a touch sweet. So I'm probably pretty close on that, just from what I experienced up in the Finger Lakes. Sometimes when they said off dry, it was bone dry. It needed a little bit of RS to smooth it out, the tannins, not tannins, the acid, and to add a little volume. And this is actually a dessert wine, and this says medium sweet. So this is late harvest Riesling. I don't suspect it'll be cloyingly sweet, 2022 vintage, but good to have with a dessert. And this won't be like nectar, it'll be definitely sweet. I've never had this one, or not that I remember having this one from Silver Thread, so it'll be good to try. They make a champagne, or they make the champagne style. They use the champagne style, and this is Chardonnay, so it's Blanc de Blanc, 2021, so it's got a little bit of age. 11.4%. The last time I had one of these, it was absolutely bone dry, and I did enjoy it. It's not champagne, but it is very enjoyable. So that was the recent purchases that I can sort of remember. I haven't been buying a whole heck of a lot. I have a lot of wine that's just sitting out all over the place that needs to be consumed. And yeah, I've been just under the weather. Oh, let's see the gentleman's name now that I can see. Is that Billy Weller or something? I can't tell either. Doesn't matter much. I just know that this was purchased by somebody, and yeah. So it's really good. So sherry notes are absolutely there. It's like raisiny and figgy. It's warming. This would be. I love Scotch. with a nice cigar. They're calling it dark cherry. Oh, nose. Oh, they're putting all the, so dark cherries, some cherry, golden syrup, and sweet spice. There's some spice. Toffee, glazed figs. I said figs and hazelnuts. I could see toffee for sure. I don't know if I'm seeing as much nuttiness. Or heather honey hallmark alongside orange peel, cocoa, and ginger. Caramelized brown sugar on the finish. Yeah, it's got a little bit brown sugar-ish taste. It's got a sweetness. It hits the palate initially and has a bit of a sweetness. It does dissipate and then have all these other flavors that are a little more savory than they are sweet. But it hits you with initial sweetness, which is really nice. Which isn't like this very big attack of a burn. All these are hard alcohols. These have alcohol. These are high alcohol spirits. They're going to have a bit of a burn. If you're not used to drinking these, you're a beer drinker or something, and you switch to these, they're going to kick your butt. And if you're a wine drinker, the same type of thing is going to happen. You sort of have to be prepared for these things. Now, the Scots will say that you should add a bit of spring water to almost all of them to help open up some of these things. These aromas and flavors, and also just help dilute it just a little bit to make it a little more palatable. I've definitely done that, and I've seen that. I've definitely overwatered, so I'll add a little bit more Scotch. But I do always like tasting them neat first with nothing, and then possibly adding water if I think it's just a little too hot. I think this is in a really good spot right this moment. This could use a drop or two, but it's not really necessary. This is a very, very nice dram, as they say. So, not much else for now. Hope to get back into the swing of things and try some of these wines that I've purchased. I've been looking through. I need to do an inventory of I have 3 mini wine fridges for red. They're definitely unorganized. I need to pick one that's going to be for some long-term aging, and then the other 2 are going to be for consumption and to be consumed within the next 1 to 3 years. If I can figure those 2 categories out, it'd be a lot easier to just grab a bottle of wine and go. But right now it's all mixed up and it's a mess, so I barely know what's in there, barely know what I have, and I need to get on top of that so I'm not overaging a wine that is now gone too far. I think I have a couple like that. I have a Greek red that I know is fantastic. I should have drank it a couple years ago. I don't believe it's going to be that much better. It could have lost some of its tannin, and then I think it'll just taste a little bit light. Even though when I first got it, it was more on the medium plus side of body, which is awesome for a Greek red to have, and just great flavor. And I had it recently. It's called the Aviton by Yellow Vasilio, and it's awesome. But that was a recent vintage. I think I have an older vintage, so curious how that will end up tasting. All over the place today for sure. No real plan of what I was doing. Dinner was just a couple burgers that I already had. I'm only gonna have a little bit of Scotch tonight, so figured I'd just share in some of the things I bought. When I do taste the Tamdhu, I know the Tamdhu is awesome. Is the Tamdhu better than this? I think so, but not by a huge margin. 2 to 1? I don't think so. I don't think that's twice as good as this. So $200 versus $100. I'm glad I was almost put this back 4 times, so I'm glad I kept it. I think it's absolutely worth $100, and it's really good for my palate. If you like sherry finished, casked, whatever scotches, this one is great. We'll see about the Irish whiskey. And I have some other Irish whiskeys been sitting there for years. I have a Middleton Very Rare from so long ago, and the bottle now looks so different. The price is 2 or 3 times what it used to be. I have a Bushmills 21 that I think also might be sherry influenced somehow, and that probably will be awesome. So I do have a couple. One of my favorite Irish whiskeys that I think is great bang for your buck is the Redbreast 12. I think now it's gone up from 40 to 50 to 70 now. Everything's gone up, so it's not really that surprising, but I think it's a fantastic Irish whiskey. But Middleton Very Rare is probably my favorite, although I did have a Napa Castle 1951. It was a 36-year-old Irish whiskey, probably one of the best whiskeys I've ever had in my life. I only had a sampler of it. I had a whole bottle. I then sold the whole bottle, and then I just found on the internet for $6,000. So maybe I should have kept that bottle, but I sold it a long time ago and nowhere near that amount of money, unfortunately. But it was fantastic. But I think somebody really wanted it. I don't even remember. Maybe I drank it. Actually, I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure, if I drank it, I would have kept the, maybe not. Maybe not. I could be totally making it up that I would have kept the bottle, because I didn't used to keep a lot of bottles. I'm now keeping the wine bottles that seem memorable to me, and some liquor bottles that seem more memorable, but I haven't done it over the years. I would have kept a Pappy 23, the A.H. Hirsch's, A.H. Hirsch 20, A.H. Hirsch 16, all that stuff, all the really old age, W. LaRue Weller, the George C. Stagg, Eagle Rares. I've had all of them. Old First a Birthday Bourbon. Had all these when they were just normally priced, and now they're just astronomically priced, and they're all allocated. So they are what they are. It's probably why I have no issue going to wine. To me, it is more enjoyable to consume it with a meal over some time. There's only so much of a hard spirit you're going to be able to consume before your palate really starts numbing out anyway. But if you just want a glass of something, take the edge off or something, there's not going to be a ton better than a spirit, assuming you do enjoy it. Okay, way too much babbling. Have a good night, and hopefully I'll do some more soon.